So the all-white town of Arkansas has failed. Oh, we found a fork in the kitchen. Like, we already knew this was going to happen. They didn't want to move there. They just wanted people to be mad about them moving there. And I was hoping it worked out. I was hoping the whole thing worked out for them so they could all move there. Listen, when they said, hey, let's play some music for you guys, and had to play the banjo. When they said, hey, let's have some food, and it looked like they were eating stale bread, I knew it was over. I knew it was over. I'm gonna tell you the truth. A lot of Caucasians in America love the idea of separating themselves, but they don't love the actual result of it. They don't realize that the wealth that was built and generated within white America was not through their own fruition, but on the backs and through the blood of other groups of people. Native Americans, Black Americans, and XYZ, everything in between. The agriculture built on the backs of natives, Latinos, and Black people. The infrastructure also built by free labor and or cheap labor. There are grants and money received given by the government, the true handout kings. And they don't actually realize every single place that has been all white in history, they don't really realize the fact that it has been destroyed also by them. Before they found other people to oppress and attack, to be honest, all Europeans used to do was just attack each other and be nasty and vile to each other.
Whites only community. Only white people are going to be allowed. Oh, probably shouldn't listen to that. So only white people are going to be allowed. What do you mean?
Like they're going to notice that it's failing whenever Becky's trying to make burrito tacos.
Them folks ain't even make it 2 months without there being talks of them actually failing as a community, bro. I feel like Paul Atreides, Blizan Al-Gaib type shit. Oh, that shit is nuts, bro. And I haven't seen anything that like concretely says that it's failed. You know what I mean? But I can infer what they're going through. Because if you look at how the farmers in Arkansas are dealing with the Trump administration, the Trump regime, you know, them farmers are struggling, and I'm assuming that them folks down there are struggling even more than the farmers. You know, because it's really funny, bruh. It's really funny because I had a whole bunch of white folks in my comments talking about oh, we don't need y'all. We don't need coloreds. We don't need the blacks, you know. When it's obvious that you do, you know, like a lot of the labor and a lot of the materials that y'all need in order to survive come from colored folks, come from people of color. You know what I mean? So I'm just do a little victory lap type shit, you know. But I was right, goddammit.
Oh yeah guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all doing good. Black Americans are sharing their honest reactions to the controversial collapse of the self-declared town, the white-only town in Arkansas, from the historical context to personal perspectives. We are here to dive into the implications of exclusions in communities in the modern America and what this moment says about race, resilience, and reality in the United States. So guys, what are your thoughts about towns like these today in America? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be coming back with more commentaries. Stay tuned.
People aren't mad about that? Okay, but they're supposed to get really mad about it. Well, how about not just only whites, but no Jews either? We want whites only that are non-Jews. And we have the best attorney. Nobody's suing us over this? What do you mean nobody cares? Just laughing? No, I mean, Arkansas, the great state of northern Arkansas, who doesn't want to come to this community of ours? No one wants to come to Arkansas.
The real estate agent told us everyone wanted that piece of property.
Okay, well, so we'll just start in Arkansas, and then we're gonna move to Missouri. Missouri's even prettier. Still nobody? How about I say it louder? Whites only community. We're gonna broadcast it, let everyone know, only whites, non-Jewish. How segregated can we get this? Still no. Okay, so we'll call this whole thing Return to the Land. Does that make people mad? It does, because it's funny coming from white people returning to a land that was never theirs. Okay, so we'll call it Return to the Land. We'll start in Arkansas, expand to Missouri. What if we say we're going to go into all 50 states? Does that make people mad? They're still ignoring us.
How is the top liked comment, no one gives a shit?
Okay, well, we need to set up some interviews.
The second most liked comment is Good Riddance Whiteys?
offended. We need to get this on national news because we want people pissed off, because that's the only way we can feel anything emotionally, you know. Who's gonna build our homes? What about the Mexican restaurants? Who's gonna open and run those? I don't know if we thought this all the way through.
To each other.
Y'all remember that whites only town in Ozark, Arkansas? I've been seeing creators happy and celebrating that the town is no longer thriving. Why? We want them to survive and thrive out there in the Hicks. We want that for them. We don't want them living amongst us. Okay, so since everybody was talking about it, saying that they feel, I had to research for myself because I want them to be okay. So Eric and Peter created this whites only town officially, legally in 2023. They bought like 100 and so acres for their white people to live on. It's called Return to the Land. And so they started moving people onto their land mid 2025, so like around July. And so it's about 40 families living out there. And so they are still thriving and doing well. Okay, they are still going, just under heavy scrutiny. Okay, and so just in case you want to go in and you white and you say, okay, let me purchase a piece of property. I want to move my family out here. First, they got to do a DNA check, because you just looking white is not good enough for them. They need to make sure you're not a Jew because the Jews can't stay out there. They don't want you out there if you're a Jew. And then let's just say, okay, it checks. You're not a Jew. They gonna have to do a background check to make sure you're not one of the alphabets. You definitely can't be no LGBTQIABCD. Of course not. You can't be that living out there with them amongst them good white folks. Okay, but you already know, just more than anything, you damn sure can't be a ninja. Hey, you can't be a ninja out there. No. So yeah, y'all, they still going, they still thriving, and we want them to be out there. Okay, because I tell you right now, I don't want your dog face ass living next to me. No, I want to come home in peace, okay, and not see your face, okay? And I'm sure you don't want to see mine, and that's cool. I'm cool with that.
So I'm scrolling through the mean streets of TikTok and Twitter, and I'm minding my business, minding y'all business, right? But minding my business, you know what I'm saying? I'm minding y'all business, but I'm not making too much noise because I'm in somebody else's business, if that makes sense. And out of nowhere, the type of conversation comes up about the all whites town in Arkansas. And I'm like, oh shit, let me lock the fuck in, because I know the farmers in Arkansas are struggling right now. They're having a hard time. And I literally just said last week that they have yet to put two and two together, that they have been basically used as a sacrifice. And where I got that from was the fact that, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but like Bush, Barbara, and J.W. Bush or G.W. Bush, right? They own a farm and they're making billions annually off this farm. Now, word on the curb is the way that they acquired the farm was nefarious, or it may be some other things going on in terms of the sale of said farm. So I'm like, okay, like I see the setup, I see what's going on. And immediately after I found out that both Google, or the owners of Google, that basically Bill Gates and JD Vance had something to do with like what's going on in Arkansas with the farmers losing everything, and all the recent self-deletions of the farmers that was like whining and complaining because they going into bankruptcy. I know for a fact it's some shit jumping off in Arkansas. So that's not too far away from what has been happening with the new all whites town in Arkansas. Girl, tell me why. Y'all not gonna believe this. The all whites town in Arkansas ain't been open for a whole year. They already got to move. I said, damn, already? No. Where? So they was like, yeah, girl, they broke. Turns out they never realized that the majority of the shit that they use on a daily basis was actually created by black folk. And a lot of the conveniences that they have in their life was created by people of color, black people included. So now that Arkansas is struggling in a farming sector. That was the foundation in which they was going to be living and building off of. They was just going to farm. And that's how they was going to get their money. And they was going to farm. They was going to take it to the local shops. They was going to sell it. And that was going to help them keep the shit alive. But since the farming sector in Arkansas is trash right now, they got to pick up and they got to move to Missouri. Girl, the all-white town has already failed. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. Because what kind of destiny was you trying to manifest? Even the manifest destiny that they spoke about in the doctrines in the United States, even that destiny that they spoke of, that they tried to manifest, baby, that destiny was manifested off the backs of everybody else's ancestors, not yours. And on top of that, to boot that, your ancestors used to marry children away at the age as young as 9 years old to be a wife. 9. You heard that correctly. Now, I did see the reports in which they were speaking about how their kids can grow up in a safe environment. Baby, the call is coming from inside of the house. And not only are your kids not in a safe environment, now y'all gotta pick up all your shit, pick it up, and move your Caucasian haven to Missouri. Missouri. It's cold as hell in Missouri. And judging by the farming sector and the way things are going with those billionaires seeking to swipe up all the farms nationally from a bunch of farmers, baby, you may end up being nomadic. You may end up being nomadic. You may have to go from state to state, time to time. That's a cult. And when things are shaky like that, when they can't seem to stabilize the financial aspects of it, that's how you know you in a cult. When they gotta pick you up and move you everywhere, and they gotta keep reiterating the ideology and why you're doing this and this, that, and that's a cult. You're in a cult. That's a cult. And give it a little bit of time. But they will definitely be running up. The men in that community they will be running up into your nursery. They will be running up into your cradles because they don't want you. I mean, they'll take you, just a little quick pump, a little 1-2, but they want them babies. They want them babies. So, congratulations, you're in a cult. Everything that I've heard about this all-white town in Arkansas screams cult. Screams cult. And you guys have created an all-white town, but there's no Taco Tuesday. That alone would have, if I was white, that alone would have sent me over the edge. That alone would have been like, I'm out. Fuck that. Nope. I need my margaritas and my nachos. I need all that. Like, no. I want to see a little man in a poncho and a sombrero. I want to hear him singing traditionally Mexican songs. I need my Taco Tuesday. It's like the only thing keeping me sane right now. Okay? So I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm out. I don't want to do this with you guys. And they didn't already ran out of money already. They can't, no Taco Tuesday, and y'all ain't got no money, and y'all gotta move to Missouri out of all places. Shit.
As we continue, guys, how does a self-styled white-only town in Arkansas collapse under the weight of its own ideology? And what does it feel like for the Black Americans watching it all unfold? In today's video, we are seeing the raw reactions, the historical context, and the sharp commentary on what this episode says about race, about power, and resistance in America. So guys, let's continue watching. I'll be coming back with more commentaries. In case of any thoughts, kindly feel free to let me know in the comment section.
That they were going to build an all-white town, and it failed. Of course it did, because
What are you going to use in your oil white town that wasn't made by a black person? I just want to know. What invention you plan on using in your all white town that is not part of modern day technology? You can't even have a stoplight.
Funniest part about that whites only town in Arkansas, black folks ain't mad, and you're mad, we not mad. So there's a brand new whites only town in Arkansas, and the gag is black people don't even care. Now, I've seen the comments. Why aren't black people upset? Why are you mad about this? We gonna clear this up right now. Nobody's upset, Popo. See, the one thing black people ain't gonna do is lose sleep over other people that want to create a safe space for themselves. Build your own little town, plant a flag, that's fine. Hang a welcome sign, whatever makes you feel good. Honestly, we gotta be real about something, cause I saw the interviews, I saw the clips. This ain't a town of exceptional people. I mean, think about it. If you drop everything to move to this town, you probably already didn't have much going on anyway, right? And that's not shade, that's facts. So the question is again, why should black folks care? This is the part that cracks me up the most. Y'all want us to care. I see the confusion in your eyes. I see it. Y'all like, don't the blacks care? Don't they want to be where we are? Nah. We just want to make sure when we build our communities, we're not cheated out of the things that we're supposed to have. That's all we care about, boo. And it's wild because history has shown as soon as black people do build their own thriving spaces, what happened? Some of your people roll up and burn the whole thing down. But we're supposed to believe now y'all just want to be left alone. Child, I'm going to tell you what really gave it away for me, though. The fact that they ran to the media. That's not privacy, y'all. That's desperation. Numbers must be low. If you got to beg the evening news to let them know that you exist, waitlist my ass. See, if black folks were building their town, the media would be the last people that we want to know about it. We gatekeep. We ain't trying to broadcast. But y'all couldn't wait to hold a press conference. That's not security, that's thirst. So no, we're not upset, we're not jealous, we're not even plotting to crash your party. Cause truth be told, we really don't care. And honestly, that's what really bothers y'all.
First of all, some background. So we all know that we are talking about this white-only town in Arkansas. This town isn't your typical municipality. It's part of a project called Return to the Land, the RTTL, a private membership community in the Ozark Hills. They aim to restrict black people. Yes, that is what their aim is. They aim to restrict membership to people of European ancestry with what they call traditional values. You know, over 160 acres, about 40 people are living there currently in cabins with wells, a schoolhouse, and more, all built with the purpose of isolating from a failing modern society. The RTTL claims that because they are a private membership association, they can skirt public anti-discrimination laws. Their rhetoric includes coded white supremacist language, including reference to the 1488, which is a white supremacist symbol. And the founders speak of wanting to replicate this model in Missouri and other states. But the plan hasn't gone smoothly. There is legal scrutiny from the Arkansas Attorney General, who said is investigating whether this is racial discrimination under state and federal laws. So there is also public pushback. Civil rights organizations speaking out, and local unease about land values and community safety. Yes, so black Americans are reacting in these clips, and this is exactly the kind of segregation we thought we left behind. Some people want to hide away from the world, but you can't hide from justice. It's painful watching them build walls, literal or ideological. Brings back so much history. You are not just messing with us, you are messing with time, you are messing with memory, and you are also messing with legacy. Yes. So listen to that tone. It's sorrow, disbelief, anger, and it's rooted in history, not disconnected emotion. To many, this is not new. It's a replay of systems we've battled over decades. Yes, that is what black Americans are saying. So when you see Whites Only Town resurrected in 2025, it revives echoes of Jim Crow laws, sundown towns, segregation era housing covenants, and the violent pushback against black neighborhoods, America has a long memory, and black communities still carry the scars of structural exclusion. So, is this collapse inevitable? Yeah, we are here unpacking the layers, the legal, moral, and practical, that make this kind of project unstable. First, the claim of private association is being tested. Laws like the Fair Housing Act of 1968 prohibit discrimination in housing based on race. State level law enforcement is weighing in. Some officials say that racial discrimination has no place in Arkansas or the United States. RTTL strategy, structuring via the LLCs and private contracts, may provide loopholes, but courts often look beyond form to substance. If it's de facto discrimination, they may be liable. Yes, so we have morals and social critiques. Exclusionary communities depend on defining an other. They rely on an ideology of purity that's inherently dehumanizing. You can't build a stable society by excluding people who don't look like you, especially when your exclusion rests on shifting definitions of white ancestry and values. Yes, so morally, we have to ask, what is the purpose of society if not to accommodate diversity, bring people together, and foster cooperation, not isolation? How do you maintain infrastructure, water, electricity, roads, medical services in a small exclusionary enclave? The costs are high, especially if the population remains small. What about jobs, supply chains, schooling, safety? If your neighbors are only members, your labor and commerce network shrink. Recruitment pressure to grow. To grow, you need to, as in when we talk about the recruitment pressure, we can say that to grow, you need numbers, but growth means more scrutiny, more dissenters, more internal conflict. What about the interpersonal tensions? Ideological purity is brittle. Disagreements, compromises, pragmatic needs, they tend to fracture communities built on strict exclusion. So what brought about the collapse of this town? Why will the white-only town falter and collapse under its own blueprint? We have several intersecting reasons. Number one is legal enforcement pressure. Investigations, lawsuits, federal oversight. The legal system can cripple or invalidate exclusionary frameworks. Even if you hide behind corporate or private structures, public pressure forces reckoning. We can talk of public backlash and social sanctions. The media exposure, once the world sees what you are doing, moral outrage mounts, donors and participants may pull back. Internal dissent. Some members may disagree, refuse to abide by strict rules, or leave. We can also talk of resource strain and isolation costs. Small communities struggle to sustain themselves. Financial, social, logistic stress rises. Dependence on outside trade or access creates vulnerability. You might ban outsiders, but you can't ban suppliers or emergency responders. We can talk of ideological contradictions. People are imperfect. Desires, beliefs, backgrounds shift. Enforcing purity is an endless self-undermining effort. Growth versus control. The more you grow, the harder it is to vet. If you stay small, you remain fringe. If you grow, you lose control. We can also talk about cultural and psychological realities. Living in isolation breeds echo chambers, anger, radicalization. That internal pressure can eat away at cohesion. People need belonging beyond ideology, emotional, family, diverse social engagement. Exclusion weakens those bonds. Yes. So what does the collapse of this project or attempted collapse teach us? Here are key takeaways, guys, especially from the vantage point of Black Americans. History isn't over. Segregation didn't vanish, it's morphed. This event is a reminder the ideologies of exclusion persist, and they are evolving. Black Americans seeing a white-only town collapse is bittersweet. One more defeat for the supremacist dreams, but also a reminder of the vigilance required to prevent resurgence. We can talk of power of exposure and resistance. Yes, the media, activism, legal challenge matter. This project didn't collapse by itself. Pressure from inside and outside is critical. Black voices, civil rights groups, allies speaking up make the difference in turning hidden schemes into public crises. Yes, we can talk of solidarity and shared stakes. Exclusionary ideology doesn't just harm targeted groups, it degrades the notion of community, common purpose, pluralism. When any people are declared unwelcome, it erodes solidarity and strengthens divisions we all pay for. We can talk of hope in collapse, but vigilance always. Yes, it's encouraging that such a project struggles to survive, but the ideas behind it can mutate into subtler forms. We must remain alert in zoning policies, housing access, community planning, political rhetoric to latent segregationist impulses. To wrap up, guys, a white-only community in Arkansas tried to build a fortress socially, legally, physically. It hit walls. The collapse wasn't just spatial. It was ideological, legal, moral. For Black Americans watching, it's both a victory and a warning. The battle over space, belonging, and power isn't finished. So guys, of course all credit belongs to the original creators of this video. If this video moved you, share it. If it angered you, channel that energy. Join the conversation in the comments. Subscribe for more critical reaction, more voices, more stories, and let's keep pushing for a world where no one is excluded because of who they are. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of this video. See you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.